Kalos ήρθατε, and thanks for watching Your Greek News. This week's episode is sponsored by Mega Cosmos Canada. I'm your host, Anastasia. Don't forget that this Thursday, November 15th, is the Your Greek News and Mega Cosmos launch party at Trapezi Supper Club at 505 Danforth Avenue. Soon, you'll be able to catch Your Greek News on Mega through Rogers and Bell Expressview. And in celebration of our expansion to television, we would like you to join us for some fine Greek wine, hors d'oeuvres, a live performance by Greek-Canadian rock band Code Revival, and DJ Levi spinning the top in Greek music throughout the night. Feel free to contact me at atubanos@yourgreeknews.com to get on the guest list. Now, to get to this week's story, many Greeks, young and old, are familiar with Sophocles' tragedies. Perhaps most popular among his works are the stories of Oedipus Rex, Oedipus at Colonius, and of course, Antigone, the tragic tale of a girl who defies her uncle by burying her brother Polynices and thus faces the consequences of rejecting her uncle's securest man-made laws. Considering this play was written around 442 BC, many of its themes like the natural rebelliousness of youth, feminism, and a democracy's balance between security and freedom are universal concepts that can be applied to modern-day circumstances. And Adam Seelig, the artistic director of One Little Goat Theatre, did just that with his revisionist play, Antigone Insurgency, Sophocles Revisited.
The nation stands with the good people of our city as we mourn the loss of idealogies, our brave soldiers, our faithful citizens, and their true patriot love.
Sophocles Revisited because post-September 11th, when I was living in New York, I picked up a copy of Antigone and really didn't realize just how fitting it would be for these post-9/11 times, especially in how it deals with issues of national security versus individual freedoms. And literally 1 month post-9/11, I picked this up at a used bookstore, went through it, and was just floored.
This crusade, this war on terrorism, it's going to take a while.
We took a lot of liberties. However, scene by scene, we go through the entire Sophocles play, not as a straight play, but all of the themes that are covered in Sophocles, we cover here. So if there's an ode in the Sophocles, is there anything greater than man? Then we have our main female performer who also plays Antigone. She sort of plays a number of characters, but I won't give that away. But when she will deliver that, is there anything greater than man? Of course, she starts to ask, well, what about woman, and so on. So that's an example of how we preserve the Sophocles by keeping those original odes and some of the original wording, and then we morph it and work with it in a contemporary setting.
As long as I am king, traitors will never be honored above patriots, nor individuals who put themselves above our country. But whoever puts homeland first.
Earl Pascoe, who's perhaps best known for his role as Satan in Bruce McDonald's iconic film Highway 61, tapped into his years of experience as an actor to portray Creon, the conservative bordering on fascist character who tests Antigone's strength and morality throughout the tale.
The role in this play is created out of the leaders of this age, so this is not a mythological Sophoclean or otherwise character. This is now. This guy here is not thrust into power. He is elected, but he wants it. And I'm not sure the historical one did. In any event, they both get to the point where there is this ethical confrontation.
I did it.
Antigone was played by Cara Ricketts, who describes the unique challenges with bringing the tragic protagonist to life in a modern retelling of the story.
I was terrified when I got the role. She's such a strong character, and at the same time, the way this play is done in particular, we kind of start off as ourselves, and then it just immediately, like once we switch out of ourselves, we have a moment to meet with the audience and speak to them in a way, and then we've got to switch into the characters. And I'm kind of pleased that it isn't Antigone the whole time, because I went back and I checked on the text of Sophocles and other people who have written about her. And this is a young, reckless, stubborn girl. Like, she comes to a point where she makes the decision and she sticks to it completely hard, fast, and she refuses to change her mind about anything. So that scene alone, where I'm finally Antigone with Earl as Creon, is exhausting.
No sign of suffering now. a sculpture so profoundly peaceful that a man once attacked it with a knife.
As with most Greek tragedies, there is an intermediary between the actors and the audience, known as the chorus, which in this case was taken on by thespian Richard Hart.
Oh, it's a nightmare. A complete nightmare. Are you kidding? I've got a 14-page monologue to deal with right off the bat. Half an hour to talk to the audience and just talk lights up and just relate naturally to people and just talk with them. And so that's like, it's terrifying and far outside my comfort zone. I'm used to just doing, characters and putting on the mask, as it were. And this is very much a stripping away of that. So I thought I was in a boatload of trouble, but luckily with the process that we had and the care and the quality of the writing, I was in good hands with Adam, with the other cast people, and with the way the thing was produced here and by One Little Goat. So we've come through okay.
The tale doesn't shy away from placing hotly debated themes front and center, which leaves one to wonder what kind of reaction can be expected from a modern audience to this modern retelling of a classic play.
The audience reaction was outstanding. People really respond immediately to it because we don't have any political axe to grind. We're just exploring the tragedy of our times, which is the tragedy of Sophocles' times, and that is that individual rights and freedoms are going to be sacrificed when a democracy is at war. Canada is at war, both at home and abroad. Right, abroad we know about Afghanistan, obviously. At home, fighting terrorism and so on. Same thing in the United States, and same with every democracy in the world right now. So we are facing the same problems. But we are not out here we're not doing this version to prescribe some solution for it. We're just exploring the controversy. So audiences have really, at least our early audiences have really embraced that. And that's been incredibly gratifying to see how they immediately respond to it. I think it's also amazing for audiences to hear a Creon uttering certain famous and infamous sound bites that they're familiar with. And there's a certain moment, I'm not going to give too much away, but there's a certain moment where we have Creon actually channeling Pierre Trudeau during the October crisis of 1970 when he enforced the War Measures Act. That's one of the most famous interviews of Pierre Trudeau. Last night, I literally heard, it must have been at least 6 people turning to each other and saying, "That's Trudeau, that's Trudeau, that's Trudeau." So, I mean, people are really identifying with what we're doing on stage.
Of course I want prosperity for us, but not at their expense. Security for us with no less for them. Thebes and her neighbors. Athens and Samos. Canada, Afghanistan.
After performing Antigone Insurgency night after night, no one revisits the meaning behind the themes more than the actors.
I think that we have very much in common with the city-states of Greece then and today. I don't think we've come very far at all.
I say, for example, at one point, "Bless you, you're truly blessed if you've never suffered terror." And I thought that was just a modern adaptation or just a line that Adam wanted to put in there to, to make it clear. But in fact, that's one of the actual odes that the chorus says in the ancient version. "Bless you, you've never suffered terror," And so those kind of lines are still coming to me now, that how directly they relate to the situation we find ourselves in with the global war on terror.
As much as we seem to be moving forward, our problems are still the same. And it's just that they've just morphed into other things, but they're still essentially the same thing, you know what I mean? It's still an uncle and his daughter in a family feud, and it's still a young girl going against her government saying, where is it the rights of the city and my rights as a human being, and how far are you willing to take that away from me, and how much am I willing to fight for that?
Despite the fact that Antigone carries no less controversial ideas today than the day it was first performed, the Consulate General of Greece in Toronto, as well as the Pan-Macedonian Association of Ontario, have been happy to endorse Seelig's work. And after each performance, audience members can be sure that they're leaving with something profound to chew on for days. For more information about Antigone Insurgency, Sophocles Revisited, go to onelittlegoat.org or click on the link below if you're watching this on yourgreeknews.com. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to join us next week. I'm Anastasia, bringing you your weekly dose of Your Greek News.